Okay, starting a little early, wanting to make sure that everything is working properly, and that the cameras are agreeing and cooperating with me. Interesting. That may change this painting demo. For some reason, the electricity keeps going in and out, so I don't know if there's a storm brewing. So in the event that I just disappear, I haven't given up. The power has. So I do apologize for that. Wanting to make sure that everything is in focus. Okay, kind of wait a little bit to see. Make sure everyone's in. So, off camera, I have my painting area here, of course. And then to the left of me, I have another table that has a laptop. So, if I pause, I'm kind of just looking around to see what people are saying, or comments or whatever. So I'm gonna give a couple more minutes, make sure everyone's in before I have a start. I still have to finish this. Now this, for you early birds, this was non-metal metallics, and the start of it at least. This is one of my favorite pieces that we make. I just love it. I think it's a great piece for your office, and it's just cool. So I would love to have a much bigger one. Maybe I'll get a digital sculptor to make me one, and then I can sell them. That's an idea. I'll have to talk to the boys in England about that, but this is cool. I need to make sure everything is in focus. I have enough coffee fueling me. Hello, Tony. Okay, let's see. Thanks, Pete. Yeah, the trophy is really cool. And now that I've actually said, I think it would be a great idea to make bigger ones to have on our table, to use for trophies for tournaments, and just for something cool to have. So I'll definitely. I don't know if Andy or Mark has joined, but I will move forward with getting those digitally sculpted, and to get them cast in resin. That would be cool. That's a cool tournament. Okay. Well, I'm going to start. My name is Tim Spakowski, and I am painting live for you guys from St. Louis, Missouri, in the Footsore North America painting studios. The idea behind this video is to show you how to quickly paint up figures, and this is not a demo on how to paint something for contests or anything like that. It's just to help break that barrier that a lot of us have that could be daunting as far as how the heck do I paint something? I'm gonna confess to you, I really, this is a new period for me. So I can honestly say these figures here are the first figures that I've painted, other than one of my favorite figures is the Archer. God, I just love this figure. It's just really cool. But other than that, and the trophy, that's it. Because I've been, I did paint a sticks. Because I've been focusing on painting up the moderns and doing videos and stuff for that. So I wanted you guys to know that this is the first time I'm painting these figures. I did some research on the uniforms, so I'm trying to make something really easy for all of us, and easy for me in the event that I really mess up. It still looks good. So now a couple things about my painting style. My painting, I've been painting since I was, my dad got me into gaming when I was 4. I've been really painting since I was about 15. From that time, I always painted figures and built models and stuff. But really getting into wargame painting when I was 15, and I just turned 46, so I've been painting for a while. I do not paint for tournaments. I do not have the time, nor the mental capacity, because I would go insane. My analness would kick off, and I just would want things to be perfect, and I just can't do it. So, and I have to also remind myself that I'm a gamer, so I have to get some stuff painted so I can actually play. So that's my challenge. It's a personal struggle of mine. So I had to find and develop a style that works best for me. So a lot of these techniques that I use are just a culmination of many different painters. But the most person that's influenced me is James Wapple. He's here in the United States. He has a Patreon channel, he has his videos and all this sort of stuff, and he's really helped me understand color theory, and technique. So again, this is not for high standard painting. This is not for tournaments, this is not for painting competitions, but this is a way to get stuff painted quickly and will look good. How do I do that? The first thing I do is I use basically some people would call it a zenithal highlighting or shading or whatever. It really is, but it isn't, because there's a lot of different colors here that I have used with an airbrush to achieve pre-shading. There's browns, there's greens, there's tans, and then there's whites. I start off the figure by painting it dark brown, and then I start building up layers. I go into a dark blue, and then a green, and then I will take the airbrush and at a 45-degree angle and with a cream color or tan and just start building up highlights. But what this does is it quickly achieves shadow as well as it quickly achieves highlights. These Victrix figures are amazing. They're really detailed and they're very easy to put together. Now, I purposely did not put the shields on these figures because I wanted to show you guys how I paint, and I wanted it to be fast, because really I'm trying to get all 3 of these done in under 2 hours. So we'll see. It can be achieved, but that's the other reason why you see no shields. I can paint the shields later, and I also think it's in my opinion quicker to paint something without the shields, because then you can get around here instead of taking the time trying to get the angle of the figure with the brush and all that sort of stuff. So these are Victrix plastics. These 3 figures come in the Athenian expansion box, the Mortal Gods expansion box. It took me, I don't know, maybe a minute to put these together, if that. I did some, sanding and stuff like that. I used a sprue cutter, and they're in. Now, it would not surprise me, though, because I'm going to be painting fast, if my finger bloop, hits the spear and now I've just lost the spear somewhere. And that's okay. Again, this is just a video to show you guys how to paint. Okay, there. So that being said, with the pre-shading technique done, I use a series of washes or glazes to help start the base coat of the color. So, and there's been a lot of press about these kinds of paints, and some good, some bad. I can tell you the GW contrast colors I use. Now, I do not use them solely as the color itself, and I apply the color on the figure and then I'm done. I don't do that. I will use mixture of colors. So for the bronze, I'm going to add some bronze to this skeleton horde and make a glaze. And I'm going to glaze the helmet, the plate, and the shin pads. And I apologize. I know I'm probably, if Faddis is watching, he's slapping his head. I don't know all the terms because this isn't my genre. So, so I apologize if I'm using the wrong terms. But anyway, you'll see quickly that it will start with a nice glaze, and then it will build up the color from there. Okay, so enough of me talking. Let's talk about gravity. And what I do, especially with glazes or washes, I always start, well, I try to start top to bottom. And so in this case, the first thing I'm going to do is work on the helmet, the breastplate, and the shin guards, whatever the hell those are called. And then I'm going to look at the other figures that I'm painting. Okay, since I got that color out, what can I do? So then I can use that same color for the helmet on this figure, the helmet on this figure, and the shin guards. I got to tell you, this helmet is one of my favorite helmets that's in that Victrix box set. It amazes me that it's plastic, and it's just cool. I mean, that helmet could be used for a lot of different things, a lot of conversions. It's just really cool. Okay, I'm going to get some water here. Okay, so I'm going to start off with the bronze. And to do that, I'm going to use Vallejo Game Color Bright Bronze and going to mix it with Skeleton Horde Contrast. I was looking around my paints and I couldn't find any other bronze that I had. So I thought, okay, no problem. I'm going to make the glaze anyway. And this Skeleton Horde, Contrast Skeleton Horde, is amazing. I love the color. So it will tone down the bright bronze. Now I'm going to use some glaze medium. Put some on the side there. Now sometimes when I'm doing this, it may not be as dark as I want it to be. And that's okay. So I will just add some more of the Skeleton Horde real quick. I apologize if these figures go out of focus while I'm doing this, or if I bump the camera. I showed Andy this morning my setup, and most people, when they see it, I can't believe you can paint with all this stuff. I literally have a camera right in front of me, of my hands here, with about 7 different lights, and I'm trying to move fast. So, okay, here we go. Now, again, I don't know much about the uniforms other than literally I'm looking at the box set here, and I'm looking at the back of the box set and saying, okay, yeah, it looks like the breastplate is bronze. So I may make a mistake. I apologize if I do paint something that I shouldn't. Okay, we're in focus. Here we go. So I literally just start applying this. Now I can already tell that I thinned this down a little too much, and that's okay. I would prefer to have my paint thinner than thicker. It allows me to correct any mistakes I may have made. So that's just my general rule. Okay. Okay. So already what's happening is, because that paint is thin, the shading and the highlighting that was done previous shows through. And I got to remember to keep talking so people don't think I've dropped, so I apologize. Now I also paint with a hairdryer to help speed things up. So from time to time, I will tell you guys, okay, I'm going to pause it, use the hairdryer, and just dry off the figure, so then I can continue to move forward. And I have a $10 hairdryer right below me, and it's one of the best things that I have bought, because it just allows, I don't have to sit and go, okay, I'm just going to wait for this paint to dry. No, you don't. Nope. Use that hairdryer. Now here's a good example of how that pre-shading is already showing through in the shin guard. I mean, it's there. I mean, it's just because the paint is thin, it's translucent, and those colors that we spent before are showing up. Now this brush that I'm using here is like a 40-cent craft brush. I do have the Winsor Newton Series 7 brushes, which I highly recommend, but these craft brushes are my workhorse. And I'd rather spend the point, the hard work on using these 40-cent craft brushes than I would on a, say, $15 Winsor Newton. Okay, wow. I didn't do my homework with the shields. Okay, so just for this demonstration, hopefully I'm right. If I'm not, I apologize. I'm going to get the paint in with that shield, because I'd rather have something on the shield that I can always paint later off camera, but it also removes the white. Now this is cool. Look at this. Love the pre-shading, love the shield, the detail work. With that contrast paint, what's great about it is the pigment settles in the heavier pigment settles in the recesses, and it just kind of soaks it up in a way, and it helps do a lot of the work. I don't have all of the contrast paints. I am slowly building up my collection. There's other paints out there that are very similar to contrast paints, and I will use those as well. I'll do other demonstrations using those, but I thought that this would be easier because the contrast paints are the latest shiny penny, and in some cases they're easily to get to. Okay, I got to start speeding up here. Helmet. So again, just applying I love this figure. That helmet is just really cool. Hopefully it's on camera. I apologize if it's not. So the other thing I wanted to talk about this live video is that again, I've never painted these guys before, and so you can think about the nervousness behind that, and then add that to the nervousness of painting for a couple hundred people. It can be stressful in a way, but you gotta kind of push yourself to allow yourself to F up. I love that. Allow yourself to fail, and just move forward. And I think that's what stops a lot of gamers from painting, because it could be very daunting. They're afraid to mess up, that sort of thing. Okay, there's that. Okay, so what I've seen is that the armor for these guys are going to be a white color, and not the bronze, which is fine. And that presents a whole other challenge of painting, but I'll show you how quickly how we get around that. Okay, he has no shin guards. Okay, done. So let's take a look at this figure here. Use my trusty vision with my magnifying lenses that I'm wearing. I'm just applying some more paint. It's still very thin layers, but I want to make sure that I get everything. Because this paint that I put on first was very thin. And that's fine. I just go back and just add more layers to it. Okay, let's see. I think I got... Okay. So now let's start working on highlights. Because this paint's wet, then I'm going to start introducing highlights to it. And the great thing about painting like this is that while the paint is still wet and you add more paint to it of a lighter color or a darker color, as the paint dries, the paint kind of just blends, and you're allowing the paint to do its work. It's really cool. The one thing I tell people is to have an understanding of what your paints do, knowing that, okay, if I apply this color, I know this is the effect that I'm going to achieve. Okay. Now, let's start working on highlights. I love using a wet palette. Let me see what we look at. Any comments here? Yep, that was a veteran archer. And it's a really, really cool paint. Really, really cool figure. Love it. Love the figure. Thank you, Andrew, for the armor. You should come over. I'm here. Okay, so I paint with a wet palette. Very important, especially if you're painting large number of figures. So this is all wet, and I can go into a wet palette as well. I know Luke's APS did a video on making a wet palette. So this paint's already wet. So I'm just going to go back to the base color that I have, and I'm just going to put a drop of there in that base color. To start working on the highlights. Okay, get my nice little 40-cent craft brush going here. Let's see here. So I'm going to look at where the highlights are. Where's the light going to be hitting the most? The top up here. The abs, top of the chest. Light would be hitting the most on the shield here. Again, just calling them shin guards. Now, you may not be able to see the transition yet, and that's okay. But it's there. It's starting to show on this end. And as I add more color, it will show more. So, yeah. Okay. Make sure he's in focus. Everyone can see him. Just applying where the light is going to be hitting the most. Now, there's a lot of things that I may be overlooking when I'm painting, and I know that they're going to be resolved at the shading point when I shade these figures. And I use glazes to do the shading. I just apply the shading right to the spot, and that's it. Takes care of it. So I will paint a little bit brighter because that shading will be dulled down. And even this is getting to be bright, and that's fine because the glaze that I know that I'm going to be doing is going to tone that down. Okay, so let's see. What are my favorite colors to use for highlighting, and especially for this demonstration? To make it easier and faster, I'm just going to take game color Blanco Hueso, bone white. I love game color. The paint's thinner already. It's much thinner than model color. And I would say, well, I think I have almost every paint that's out. Either Army Painter, which is versus Vallejo versus Scale 75, Reaper. I have a lot. I like game color because it's thin, it's easy to use, and it's got a great collection of colors. So let's see here. I'm just going to add just a drop to the base. Now, because I want it thin, I'm going to add another drop of glaze medium right into it. Mix that up. See, I'm hoping you guys can see the difference in color here in shade. Okay. Let's grab this figure. Get some focus. Here we go. Start applying. Not a lot of highlights are needed because a lot of this part is shaded already. Let's see. Let's top of this. Now, a lot of times, which I found very funny for myself, is when I paint 3 to 5 figures at a time. 5 is the number that I like to paint, but I picked 3 because of the time that I have for this video. I paint faster, and it's easier for me to paint 3 to 5 figures than to paint 1 figure at a time because everything's just moving. My hands are moving fast. The paint's on the palette, and I'm just going from one to the other. I'm not too worried about the colors on the shin guards because it's going to take a lot of glazes for shading. Right here. Okay. It's a very interesting helmet. I wonder what they call that. I have to ask Fantas what they call that helmet. Okay. So it's still not really getting as bright as I want it to be. Make sure he's on camera. So I'm just going to another drop. The paint's really thin, so I'm not going to add any more glaze medium right now. Now, some people might say, my God, you use white or off-white or whatever. Well, yes, for these guys, for war game figures, when you have, say 30 to 50 to paint, what I do is I try to achieve the best look that I can quickly. I don't have the time to do layers upon layers and all this sorts of stuff. I'd rather have painted figures that I can play with versus unpainted figures. I don't want to die with a huge pile of lead that could have been projects that I could have played with. Okay, so just adding more highlights. hopefully you guys can see the difference. This is kind of a challenge right now because of the color and the amount of light bulbs that I have. I paint with these are Walmart LED daylight bulbs, 100 watts, and I've got 7 of them around here. Those I found that the shop clamp-on lights with a $15 or $12 LED daylight bulb is the best thing. I just I just have a better luck with them than $30, $50, $70 LED bulbs or LED lights. Okay. Keep adding layers, and again, as it's drying, the effect on the eye is coming out, and you're quickly and easily able to achieve transitions and different shades and colors. Okay, one more. It's far extreme because, like I said, it's going to be toned down with shades. I know that. In fact, I'm going to use a secret weapon. What is it, secret weapon or Vallejo? Tinny Tin, I think, is the name of the wash, which is a dirty brown metallic wash that is awesome for weathering metal. Okay, so this is going to be the final highlight for this, so because I got to move on. I promised to spend the rest of the day with my bride, so I need to get this stuff done. So when I hear, guys say, "Man, I don't have time to paint," yes, you do. Just sit your butt down, take 30 minutes, take an hour, just get something done. You'll be surprised at how quickly you can get moving on painting. Now, the beauty behind Mortal Gods is that we're not having to paint hundreds of figures. You can play Mortal Gods with 20 figures or less. And what I'm excited for is when Mythic comes out. You're going to have, in my mind, Jason of the Argonaut tutorial or scenarios, and you don't have a lot of figures there, and you're going up against beasties, or Perseus type figure going against Medusa. That's not that many figures. Okay. Final highlights on the helmet. And again, if for you guys that don't have the time to sit down and watch all of this now from start to finish, it is being recorded, and it will be put up on the Footsore YouTube channel as well as Footsore North America. So we have to decide how we want to handle that with converging the videos, the YouTube channels. But okay, I have to force myself to stop with this so I can move forward with the other stuff. So what am I going to do next? Well, we talked about gravity and the challenge behind color blending into each other if it's wet and if I mess up. So I think what I'm going to do is looking at the box art, this guy is basically green with some white, I don't know what those are, tabs, the white tabs. So these guys are white armor, and that's going to be green. The same green I'm going to use for this, I'm going to use for all 3 of these. Now, they may not all be in the same unit, but you know what? I have green on my palette, and I'm just going to go. So I think what I'm going to do is paint the white armor next. White can be a challenge, and what I found is this is an awesome color. Apothecary white, or however you pronounce it, contrast is really, really good. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to mix this with the Ghost Gray. Actually, it's the first time I've used this combination together. So you will find out what it looks like as I do at the same time. I could really mess it up or whatever. So I'm hoping that with the pre-shading work that we've done already, these 2 colors combined will bring out the shading as well as the highlighting. And it's going to give us time. It's a time saver. So here we go. I'm going to light a candle, say a prayer that everything comes out okay, especially since this is live. So I'm going to add some of the Apothecary White contrast paint. And I'm going to add just a drop of this Ghost Gray. Not a lot. I'm going to add just one drop of the Glaze Medium. Here we go. Yeah, see, just that one drop of gray went a little bit lighter than I wanted, and that's fine. It surprises me that was that much. So, add okay. Got this mix going. Okay, we'll see what it looks like. Let's take this figure. Okay, so, oops, I apologize for bumping the camera. Let's see here. Looking at this box art, where does this stop? Where does the armor stop, and where does... Okay, well, you know what? For this demonstration, here we go. I'm just going to apply it right here. Yes, and exactly what I thought would happen is happening. The pre-shading work is coming through and bringing up the, like I said, the shades and the highlights that I've already achieved. Because this paint is wet, because it's a contrast paint or a glaze, it's not covering up all that detail work of the figure, and as well as it's not covering up all the pre-shading work that I've done. Quite a time saver. Because what we're trying to do is, when we're painting figures, is to have shading and highlights, at least a couple different colors. So that's what this is doing. Okay, so I'm getting into the armor here. I apologize, I don't know what the name of this is. Okay, so see how it's coming through? Okay, so now I'm going to take this. This may require some more coverage up here, because what's going to happen is that copper, or I'm sorry, the bronze is going to be bleeding through, and that's fine. That's expected and easily corrected. The one thing, the issue that I have with the contrast paint just in general is the idea that you just apply that paint straight out of the pot to a figure, and then pray to God if it doesn't blend into anything else. And if it does, then you got to go back and use their white paint or whatever it is to cover it up, and it just So this is, in my opinion, a better way. It's not the best, but it's just my way of doing it. Okay, let that dry. Go to this guy. I purposely waited for that guy that I just painted first for the top of his helmet to dry before I moved on to the other white here. Okay. Now this technique that I'm using, I use on really all my figures, even when I'm painting for product photos. I just take a little bit more time painting And then I'll just add some mid-tones and other things like that. But basically, in an essence, this is it. Okay. I see that the one coat that I've done so far, it has achieved some things. It has achieved some highlights. It has achieved some shades. But in my opinion, I need a little bit more. So, okay, here we go. Put it right down. If there is too much paint on your brush, just dry the brush off real quick, or remove a lot of the paint off of it, and then just go in there, go to town. My old style of painting, my God, I would it would take me forever to achieve these looks, because I would do layers upon layers. I'd wait for these to dry, and then I just was so bogged down in my analness of perfection, of getting the layers to look right and all this sort of stuff. And then I looked and I thought, I don't have anything painted to play. I've got a couple good figures that look really, really cool, but I don't have anything to play with. The other thing that taught me a really good lesson about getting figures painted was when my main painting teacher, my main mentor, his name was Bill Norden, when he passed, he willed me 30 years of all of his stuff. Bill was an awesome painter, and like all of us who love this hobby, had quite a collection of figures that were ideas that never came to fruition because they just didn't get painted. So I thought, oh my God, that was a good lesson for me. Get my stuff painted. Just get it done, get it out there so I can play. I'm not doing it to paint any competitions. I'm not doing it to impress anybody. Are there people that are way better painters than me that are watching right now? Yeah. Of course. There's always going to be somebody better. Personally, it is about me finding that middle ground that I'm happy with, that mentally allows me to move forward and play. So, okay. Awesome. Great. Let's take a look real quick. Yep, the paint is there. I can see some shading already coming through, especially around his chest. Okay, I'm going to put this down, wash off my brush. Let's see, looking at someone's comments, if anything. Okay, so now I'm going to start with the highlights of the white armor. The paint is still wet, and that's what I want. So I'm going to go back and drop Ghost Gray, put it on the side, because my God, that was really quite a change in color. And I didn't want it that dramatic, so okay, here we go. Oops. So I'm just going to start hitting the areas where the light would be hitting the most, and that would be here around these tabs. And I'm sure I'm missing a whole bunch of detail. I apologize as far as the uniform. This is not my period. I am personally learning as I go. Again, it's all going back to the idea of helping people get stuff painted quick. Go here. Start working the highlights. See, you can see a gradation here of light to dark. I can also see as the armor is drying, I'm going to add a little bit more highlights to the armor, which is fine. The paint's wet. Easily achieved. Easily fixed. Okay. Top the, I don't know what this is called, but there. Okay, let's get here. Now, the shield is going to be right here. So a lot of shading. It's going to be dark. I'm not even going to waste my time doing a lot of highlighting and shading. Oops, that's going to be green. Just move it around. Okay, how are we doing here? So I'm going to start looking at how things are starting to build up as far as the highlights go. Okay, I'm going to add some more of that ghost gray into the mix, because then eventually what we're going to do is just ghost gray, and then I'll do a drop of Vallejo white that I love. Let's let this dry for a little bit. And it's okay if this is too bright as well, because like I said, when we do the shading, it's all going to be taken care of. Still applying it here. Okay. Start adding more of that, like I said, the ghost gray color. So we're starting to build up highlights and shades. Look at that. See? Right there. It's perfect for wargaming. Come on. Doesn't have to be perfect. At least I keep telling myself that. Our mental barriers are the most difficult ones to break as far as moving forward, especially in painting. For years and years and years, and still to this day, I compare my painting to other people and get just depressed. I can't do this, give up. No, don't do that. Especially for you guys who are brand new into the hobby. There are so many painters out there that have been painting for years. Very, very, very talented artists that have spent a lot of time honing their skill. So don't let that stop you. Okay, I'm going to go straight to that ghost gray. I'm not going to add any glaze medium because I want this highlights to really stand out. So add it there. Top of this. Okay. Again, that shield is going to be covering a lot of this area here, so I'm not going to spend a lot of time on it. Okay, final highlight. I'm going to move on here. I am going to take one of the best colors that I love that Vallejo makes is rotten white. It's a bright white. So I'm just going to drop it here into the ghost gray mix. I will add glaze medium to this. blend that up. Yeah, that's definitely a whiter color. In fact, I may just take some more of the original color just to kind of tone it down if I need to. Okay, here we go. Just the top of here. Hope you can see that transition. Okay. Okay, let's see here. I'm going to go a little bit slower because this is the final highlight, so I'm going to spend a little bit more time on the edges, especially right up here, because I can't remember how far the shield will go up. Okay, final one here. I would think a lot of the light would be hitting there. I also did remember that these are plastic figures, so I gotta be mindful of when I use the hair dryer. I don't know if the plastic will get soft on me or not. That's what, when I paint resin figures, I will use the hair dryer to dry things, and then oh crap, I forgot that they're resin, they're not metal, so I gotta give them some time to recover. Okay, let's do this panel up here. There we go. Okay. I'm done. I'm done with the white. So what are we going to do next? Let's do the green. Oh, you know what? Let's wait and go right back to the bronze real quick. And you know what? This is not as bright as I want it to be. So I'm just going to go over to the gray that we've had done already, this color here. Can I get a blending going? You see that? And it's great because the color here will be part of the highlight for the armor. James Wapple just teaches if color goes one place, it goes in another. So let's get this shield there. Again, this is the 40-cent craft brush. These things have quite a point. You can achieve a lot with that point. Okay, almost done. Excited to see what these are going to look like with the brown shading done on it. Again, for these are just points of light hitting that metal, so I'm assuming it's a bit shiny in some cases. So we're just going to create that look. And I would say that would be right there on this ridge right here. Okay, now we're going to go to the green. Force myself to stop. I have to. Okay, talk about greens here. Yeah, according to that box art, this whole thing is green. So that's what I'm going to do. Okay. Contrast green, Creed Camo, and dark green. These are the green colors that I'm going to use. Stepping up here, looking to see. Hey Nicholas, how you doing? Okay, here we go. It's a nice dark color. Okay. Drop right there. That's a good color right there. Let's see. See, how thin is this? A lot of times I'll just... Awesome. Perfect. Okay, I'm going to slow down just a little bit here so that my green doesn't go over my work that I've done previous. These brushes hold a lot of paint and a lot of water, so even after you will remove some paint and water, it will still be in there. Okay. Paint this part here. Okay. Now I see there's areas where I may have missed paint, and that's fine, because again, I'm going to be applying shades right to those areas, those dark areas, and that will take care of it. Look at that. See how that already, because I'm using that contrast paint mixed with Vallejo paint or any other, it just that it settles in the crevices, and it helps me with my shading. Going a little bit slower. Get around this shield. Now here's a good example. For me, is it worth me trying to get that brush between that shield and that the armor for this demonstration? Heck no, because I will just apply shades to it. So I'm not even gonna mess with it, because I don't want to spend the time to recover. Oh, I see something I've missed, but that's okay. Okay. Oops. Let's go with this guy. And the beauty of this is, if this white contrast paint that I'm calling it, because it's just the contrast in the Vallejo, has bled through and gone down to the green here, then it's already kind of helping me establish highlights. Look at that, right there. Now I'm going to slow my brush down, go in the arms here. Because of white. There's some colors that I find very challenging to paint and recover mistakes on. And white is one of them. Okay. I don't know where the hell that's... Oh, looks like I made a happy mistake here. I chose the wrong arm when I glued it on. Well, that's fine. Whatever. Thankfully, the shield will cover it, and move on. Happy mistake. Okay, here we go. Last guy. So the idea behind doing these demos, these painting demos, is to help inspire you guys. I personally would love if you guys make comments about the video. Was it helpful? Would you like to see more? Was it cheesy? What would you like to see different? How could I make them better? Because I'm just doing this for the community. I'm doing this to help guys get stuff painted. So we're doing this for you guys. Okay, let's go a little bit slower. Little bit slower. Okay, awesome. Yep, there you go. Look at that. pretty quick. Okay. Now, start working on the highlights for this. I'm going to use the Vallejo dark green again, and I'm just going to drop it right there. Bam. Mix it up. So I've got the base dark green in here. Breathing, 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 so I don't mess up here. Start working on the highlights. Let's see here. So I see some area where the color has bled to the copper, or I'm sorry, the bronze, or vice versa, and that's easily fixed, especially around the edges, because again, we're going to be doing the shades, the outlining using shades, and that will just make it all disappear. Okay, now I'm reminding myself. Nope, not yet. I don't know if I need to put anything in the top of the hair or not. So there's that. Going back to where the light is hitting the most. Here we go. There we go. Okay, let's work on another highlight here. I'm going to go straight dark green. The color's pretty, it's pretty translucent. Okay, so just going back to the areas where highlighting should be. And then after this, we'll move on to the flesh. So we'll get rid of all this white that we're looking at, so you can see how everything's coming together. That's the other thing, that as a painter you got to remind yourself that as you're painting something, it may look like well, it may look like crap, but then you got to remind yourself, well, wait a minute. Once something else gets painted, it's going to take away that look, and it's going to look better. And what's great is, because of the pre-shading work that I did, that green, it's showing up a lot of highlights already that I don't have to really do much with. Okay, how do I highlight green? I use yellow, or a paint that has some yellow in it already to save me time. So I'm looking at my paints here. That's extreme, but it's got some green in it. So this is Game Color Escorpania green. So I'm just going to do a drop. First of all, shake it up. Add a drop. There we go. Okay. Know what your colors can do. Know what blending does. Know what they're going to look like. And then you'll be confident in what you can achieve and what look you're after. And that just comes from practice, painting, and making mistakes. Here. More highlights. Okay, so I'm going to add some more of the yellow to this. Focus. Focus, focus. Get the ends here. You can add white to it if you'd like. I prefer to use yellow for highlighting green, and then I might use a bit of white just for like towards the end of the tips of where the light is hitting the most. Okay, so and that's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to just take some of the color that we had here, and do the what I consider the final highlighting. Let's see here. There's a lot of shading here because of the weapon and the shield hanging down. So, and then plus this area. So I'm trying to create the effect of the light hitting and moving up. And again, with the shading that we do, we'll even make a deeper shades. Okay, I'm looking at my recording time, and I've been recording for an hour, which is not bad for what we've been able to achieve on 3 figures rather quickly. So if you guys only had an hour, look what you could do within that hour. A lot of us have kids, a lot of us work, and our time is valuable. So if you only have an hour, you can get a lot done. Okay, here's a good example of how that light is going to be hitting up here. So I'll just put some more up here. And so you'll see the difference. And again, we'll achieve that look a little bit more with the shades. Okay, I'm done with the green. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to work on the flesh. I just want to make sure that everything is dry. So I'm going to put the microphone on mute real quick so that I can use the hair dryer to make sure that stuff's dry so I can do the flesh. Okay, got the hairdryer on, and to what I was concerned about before with the plastic and the heat, not much changed at all. That was great. I'm looking at this guy's feet. I guess I'll take care of that with the brown. Okay, so we're going to move on to the flesh. I'm going to cover up the wet palette real quick. Some of you who've seen my videos, I keep a lot of these plastic lids that come from produce containers or whatever. I use these as pallets. What's great about them is there's two sides. I'm checking to see if anyone else is commenting or laughing or whatever. Yeah, Andrew, you should switch back to 28s. I can tell you honestly, I can paint quicker in 28s than I can in 10s and 15s. So, come on over and I'll show you. Let's see. Okay, so for this demonstration, I'm going to use Vallejo Game Color Carne Marine Tan. That's going to be the base color of the flesh. Then we will work on highlights, shades from that. But the flesh we'll establish a color with the flesh, and then we'll do other things like the weapons and stuff, and then we'll move on to the shading. So now I gotta get my brush clean really good. The other thing I use for cleaning brushes is isopropyl alcohol, 91%. Okay, I've got a nice fine point here. Okay, I'm going to go a little bit slower so I don't screw up what I've done. Now, here's a good example of eyes. Look at these eyes that are deep set in there. Am I going to try to stick my brush in there to get those eyes done? No, because my shading is going to take care of that. But what I am going to do is go rather slow. You know what? We'll see. There we go. Bam. Bam. I'm trying to see if I've got everything I need to paint on his face. The rest looks like it's hair. Okay, so now let's go to the top of the knee. Not too worried about this part here, because first of all, it's a highlight, but also again, the shade will tone it down. And sometimes you'll screw up and you'll get paint on stuff that you've spent your precious time painting, and then you just cover it up. So, okay, God, I'm not that familiar with the feet. I think these are sandals. I apologize if this is out of camera. Okay, yep, I think I'll know how to take care of that. Okay. Going a little bit slower now because it's near the green that I've painted. Yeah, it's funny, Andrew, if you're still watching. The other day, I've got a ton of 15 millimeter Napoleonics, and I have a lot of them that are not painted. So I keep going back and forth with getting those painted, painting them myself, or just going to 28s. And I can honestly say the 3 figures that I painted in 15 millimeter was enough for me to say I'm not going to paint 15 millimeter again, unless they're just like really cool character poses, because I can paint faster in 28s than I can in smaller. Because I found myself spending all this time trying to get these little details and the belts and all that sort of stuff done. I'm like, this is killing me. I'm not getting anywhere with this. So that's why. And as I've gotten older, a lot of you can understand this, your vision changes, and I prefer painting 28s. Okay. Yep, and like I said, I'm going a little bit slower with the flesh because of the white that's around it. Okay. Let's see. Did I miss anything? Nope. Okay. Let's see here. Going a little bit slower. Now, some of you guys, I'm sorry if I'm not explaining myself and you guys don't know exactly what I'm thinking. When I paint flesh, I paint in layers of different colors, and I use this as my base color, and then I build up. Now, for you guys that are brand new into painting, there are many different flesh colors that are out there that are just as fine to use. So don't feel like you have to use different layers and different colors of flesh. It's just I've been using different layers and colors for a very, very long time, and it's something that I will not compromise on personally for myself. I am allowing myself to paint a lot faster on other parts of the figure, but in my opinion, personally, for me, the faces and the flesh are very important. So I'd rather put the time there than, say, on this green. Okay, he's wearing sandals, so I'm just going to paint his toes. I purposely did not dilute this paint, the flesh paint, because I don't want to take the chance of it bleeding out. Okay. Wow. In a previous life, I was a contractor in Iraq as well as a weapons instructor for a company, and I find that the same breathing techniques that I taught for shooting I use for painting. When you're trying to control your brush strokes, and especially when you get into really small confined areas, I hold my breath and achieve what I'm trying to do, and then I breathe out slowly. So I can honestly say the flesh, this part that right here, is where the painting process for me can kind of bog down, and that's okay. God, I gotta get between the shield. So So if you get paint on something, it's not the end of the world because the paint's rather wet. You just take your brush, just brush it right off. Okay, let's see here. Did I get all of this guy? No, I did not. I purposely, especially for war game figures, I don't spend a lot of time and a lot of detail on the feet because I like muddying and messing up and dirtying it up. And so that's why you may not see me spend a lot of time with that. To me, it's just trivial. Plus, when I use Luke APS's Mediterranean base ready pack, it will just all kind of take care of itself with weathering. Okay, final flesh guy. Whew. Then I can speed up. Okay, got the legs here. Okay, nice point on the face. Oh, that's his nose, okay. Okay, he's wearing boots. Thankfully, that will save me time. Now I'm going to slow it down around his hand. Again, this is where the shield is going to go. So I'm not worried too much about a lot of the detail there, but I will paint it for the demonstration as far as the knuckles and stuff. Okay. Now, I will say for guys who paint their figures at showcase or competition style, all their wargame figures, my hat's off to you guys. That shows a very strong will and a heck of a lot of time. I just don't have it, so. Okay, let's see here. I think we are done. Perfect. We are done. Okay, now it's going to start heating up. Now it's going to start get faster. Let's get these weapons done real quick. What the heck do these weapons look like? Is this wood? Looks like it's wood. Yep, okay. Great. So, to save us time, then, the same wood color that we're going to use for these, I'm going to use for the boots. And then I might use the same color for the hair. I don't know. We'll see. What's my favorite color to use for wood? Let's see here. I'm going to go with Vallejo Beige Brown. I love this color. I'm going to put this here. Then we still want to achieve the quick look or the quick ability to paint faster. So we're going to use this GW Skeleton Horde. Let's see what these colors look like together. I don't know what they're going to look like together. Shit. Okay, here we go. Yep, got a nice dark brown. Could be darker, but it's... Okay, here we go. Let's take him. Look how fast that gets on there. We'll just paint the whole thing. Go to the boots. Okay, that's still kind of wet. That's okay. Okay, you know what? Let's get the hair. Might as well save us time here. Bam. Okay. What do we got going here? Wow, his beautiful locks of hair here is copper. So I need, that's going to take some more. Get his beard. I think this is a mustache. Sorry if that's out of focus. Let's see here. Let's get his sandals. Again, I'm not too worried about the feet because they're all going to be dirty anyway. And I apologize if this is not supposed to be wood. Please correct me if I'm wrong. But again, for painting purposes, this demo was perfect. Okay. The other great thing about painting with a thinner paint is that if you painted this pole with just paint right out of the bottle, it would take a little bit longer and you'd have brush strokes. With it being wet like this, it's just a streak. Now, I wish I paid more attention to the discussions of the insides of the shields. I'm sorry if this is sacrilege. I don't know if it is or not. I thought somebody says it was wood, but I don't know. Mea culpa. Okay. Oop, I got this to do. Okay, last one. The feet. Okay, what is he got around his arm? I don't know, but it's going to be brown. Get his hair. I'm going a little bit slower because I don't want to get anything on the white. And I did. That's okay. Worst case, I've got all that white still that's wet. I'll just reapply a quick line. It's a challenge with that spear getting to that. Okay. I think... Perfect. Okay. Don't dip my brush in my drinking water. That's important as well. Okay, let's get to the metal parts here. I'm going to use Vallejo Game Color Gunmetal. Stick that there. Okay, where does the metal stop and where does it start? Okay, I see. Oh, is that copper? Ooh, okay, well, I see something I need to do. I'm so glad I took the time to look. I know I keep saying copper, sorry, bronze. I can hear Faddis yelling at me right now. Okay, there. What do I need to do now? Let's see here. I know this may not be the right color. I apologize. I don't know what it should be. But I will hide a lot of it in my shading. Just going a little bit slower. I'll probably paint the handle a different color. I gotta go back anyway to the copper. I'm sorry, God, bronze. Okay, looks like I have all the metal done here as far as the weapons go. Business side of it looks a bit done. Okay, so I'm going to move this palette real quick. Back to my wet palette. And I also see that I need to get here, that bracer. So these will be a lighter color because I wanted to break it up between that and the armor. Okay, let's see. Top of this? Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what color that should be. I thought I did all the research that I needed to, and I apparently failed there. It's not multicam. I know multicam. I don't know this stuff yet. Let's see. Back here. One more. I'll have to ask Faddis what is the name of this weapon and why the metal's different. I don't know. And I'm just going by the box art, so I'm hoping that the person did the box art knows. Okay. Let's see. We do need some brown here. Okay. Almost done. I know that this is kind of getting slow. Bear with me. we're getting to the cool part. Just adding some more highlights to that bronze. This to me is the centerpiece of the figure, so trying to achieve that look. Might as well add highlights to this since it's wet. Thank God the spears have stayed on. Trusty glue. I'm purposely not painting the handle yet because when I highlight the wood, I will then just add more colors to that base color to differentiate. Okay, what do I need to do? So my next step that I'm going to be doing is the shading, is starting the shading process and then go into the flesh. So I think I'm done with this guy. Yep, I'm pretty much done with this guy. See, I can see areas where I've completely missed paint, and that's fine. You'll see that it will just disappear. No, one thing that I need to do. You need to add some more of the highlight to the green, because it's all going to be subdued with browns and blues for shading. Almost done here. Okay, that's done here. So okay, what next? I think I'm going to paint some red in the top part here. Looking at the box art, looks like I've got 1, 2, 3 stripes there. Shake it up real good. I'll use Game Color Bloody Red because that looks to be the one that's cooperating. Yes, thankfully. Okay, so what do we got here? Literally just stripes. Okay, so we're gonna go one. I don't know if it goes on top or not. It does. For my time saving here, I'm just going to do 2 each. Okay, that. I chose a nice bright red because it's going to get subdued. Okay, one more. Sorry if there's purists out there yelling at me right now that there should be 3 or 4. I don't know. I'm just trying to get these painted. Let's see here. Okay. Awesome. That looks pretty cool. Again, I apologize if there's supposed to be more. Okay. I have to use the hair dryer real quick. Okay. So the figure's dry, everything's done, this color's done. I need to start shading the flesh parts here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the GW Contrast Skeleton Horde. I might, for other areas, use a different brown, but for time, just want to show you what this is going to look like. I will add a drop of glaze medium. Okay. I'm going to apply it on the flesh. So what it's doing is starting to shade that flesh and then create the nice base coat to for the other different layers of flesh that I'm going to use. And you also see the Skeleton Horde can use right away for shading this bronze. Stick this right in here. Stick it, oops, apologize for hitting the camera, all on the inside of the shield. So a lot of guys are using just contrast colors, contrast paints just to paint their figures, and I've been using them also for shades. Okay. Get the hand. You know what? I'm going to do the metal as well, because I normally do use a darker brown. It's a Vallejo Cam medium brown. It's like a burnt umber. Yep, that Skeleton Horde, I love this color. And, oh wow, yeah, look at this. How it shades. Oh, I completely forgot his hair there. I'm moving too fast. And if it's too much, you take a makeup sponge, wash it right away. I have a ton of these makeup sponges around here. Okay, I think I got one more guy to do. Here we go. Yep, I sure do. And if the tone isn't what, if it's not as dark as I'd want it to be, you can always just use a different brown. Okay, these guys are shaded. Let's just add some of the skeleton horde right there. This is a heavily shaded area. Yeah, I really like the skeleton horde on this bronze. That's really cool. Very cool. That's first time ever. Sometimes you just kind of experiment. Sometimes you're experimenting live. See what's going to happen here with this contrast paint and the shield? There you go. There's a lot of haters for contrast paint. I don't quite get it, other than their own personal vendettas or whatever. But are they pricey? Yes. Should you try them out? Yep. Okay. Well, there's that. Now I got to put the hairdryer on real quick. Okay, now we're going to go back to the flesh. Get the flesh done here. Hammer this out real quick. Okay, my desk is definitely getting full here. So I'm going to go back to the Carnet Tan. I'm going to add glaze medium. Because what we've done is we've we've done the base coat. We did the shade. So now we're going to just start applying highlights. Okay, here we go. Top of the hand, top of the toes. Slow myself down a little bit here. Get the lips. Back of the feet, back of the heels. Bam. One. Bicep, tricep, hand. I'm gonna probably have to go use a better brush. I grabbed actually the wrong brush here. For this face. Quads, top of the... And it's funny, a lot of times when I'm painting, I will say that out loud to myself so I know that I'm hitting the areas that I need to hit. It's just out of habit. Go a little bit slower. And that helmet. The elbow, back of the leg. Okay. Okay, slow it down a little bit. See, I cannot tell if that is his nose or if that's a helmet. I wish I had these better. Bloody hell, I don't know. I think that's his helmet, so we will fix that. Okay, not going to spend a lot of time on this arm. See how the colors changed already on the knees, the legs? All I'm doing really is tricking the eye and making splotches, really. And because the paint is wet, it will dry together. Okay, I think I got it all. Yep. So now let's start building the flesh colors. So I use, for this demo, we'll use 3 different colors. Vallejo Dwarf Flesh, Vallejo Flat Flesh, and then the final highlight, Basic Skin Tone. So what I do is I'll take this Dwarf Flesh and drop it right in, hopefully, if it cooperates. Damn it. Right in to the base paint. Mix that in, mix that up. Here we go. Tap the fingers. Biceps. I can't remember how much is going to be covered by the shield. Toes. Shoulder. Back of the heels. Okay. Toes. Go slow here. Get to a nice point. Create the illusion of flesh in that helmet. Okay. In the hand, forearm. Shite. I am moving too fast here. Okay. Here we go. Here's a good example of what that flesh will do. Right away, you're building up color. You're creating layers and transitions. Okay. Now I'm going to go into using the flat flesh. Flat flesh. I'm going to drop that right into here. Mix it up. And I got a nice flesh mixture here. Top of the hand, that's where the light's hitting the most. Top of the toes. Back of the feet. Not doing a lot of work on the hand because it's all going to be covered by the shield. However, I will do some slow work here on the bicep. Back the leg, heel. Last one. I could have used a smaller brush, but to save time for this, I chose not to. Okay, oh, let's see here. I have completely ignored the inside of this arm. Simply moving too fast. And when there's shadow, I'm not going to paint underneath there. I don't need to. Okay, one more. That's it for the flesh. I'm going to use the Vallejo basic skin tone. Mix that up. Okay, so far it's been 1 hour and 58 minutes. Not bad for 3 figures. Okay. Top of the hand. Top of toes. Trying to get a lot of paint off this brush so I can get a point. Ankles, back there. Okay. A lot of this looks really messy, and it is because I'm moving fast, but pretty soon you'll see that messiness will get cleaned up. Last one. Hand. For you, those of you who have sat through this thing for 2 hours, thank you. That's pretty cool. For you that just joining, that's fine. This is going to be recorded, or it is being recorded as we speak, literally. And it will be posted on the YouTube videos, or on the YouTube channels. Okay, I see some areas that I completely neglected. And that's okay. So I'll just go with like a mid-tone of the flesh and just kind of address it. Because I use the wet palette, everything's still wet, everything's still there. So, okay. One thing I need to do, no, 2 things before. I need to work on that, the crest of it nose there. Let's see. What do I need to do? I lost my train of thought. Oh, that's right, the wood. Okay. Tell you, if you guys were here, you'd lose a limb because I'm just moving as fast as I can. Okay, we're going to go back to the beige brown. And we're going to work on the wood parts, start working on the highlights of the wood parts. That's very easy. And I will start working on the area over here where it's supposed to be lighter. Work on the boots. Again, for Wargame miniatures, I really don't spend a lot of time on the feet. Because it's all going to get dirty. Back to here. Shit, I don't know. I don't know how to... I remember the discussions in the very beginning of Mortal Gods when the groups were starting and people are asking about the inside of the shields. I should have paid more attention. So I apologize if I'm painting it wrong. Okay, I think I got it all. I think I have everything. Do I not? Oh, this guy. Okay, going back to my constant repetition of the wet palette. Here's a time saver. Because we have a wet palette, I'm just going to take what I have here and start highlighting the wood. So I just basically took from the flesh, start highlighting it. Why not? Use the paint that's there. I will say, this painting these is a respite from painting multicam or any kind of camouflage. That's what I've been doing for a while. Okay. Start working on that hair. I should go darker. I'm going to go darker with the hair real quick because it's just too, the colors are just, it's hard to break out. Okay, I'm going to add some more flesh. Whenever I see spears like this, I'm reminded of, I mentioned Bill Narden before. He, for his spears, a long time ago, he found a plastic broom and cut up the straw. I guess I don't know what you know, the actual part of the broom itself, and he used those for spears. Perfect. Perfect. They can bend. People fat finger your stuff, and the spear is not going to break off. Didn't have these cool tips though, but okay. I think I'm going to dress the hair with just different shades since I'm running out of time here. Okay, final. Again, this is just where the light is hitting the most. Getting that done. Okay, for the wood, I'm done. Now what I'm going to do is, I spoke about this, either it was tin or smoky ink, I can't remember the one. Always getting confused here. I might not be able to find it. Yep, tinny tin. Okay, so Vallejo makes a tinny tin color. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to thin it down a lot. And apply it to the bronze metal. So I'm going to add some water. And it gives it, when it dries, it gives it a really nice metallic, dirty look. Let's see, how are we doing here? Might need more. Okay, I think we're good. Okay, let's do a test. Let's do a test right up here. What is that going to look like? There we go. That's what I'm wanting. Right there. Okay. Let's get the... Look what's going to happen here. Perfect. I don't know if you guys can see that good, but what it's doing is it's subduing that bronze. Said it right this time. And it's making it a little grittier. That's pretty cool. Okay. This is the guy that I'm excited to see this work on. His breastplate, or whatever it's called. Let's do his helmet first. Yep, that's exactly what I knew it would do. It's got some metallic parts in it. I don't know what is in this tinny tin, but it has metallic, and it settles. Get it the inside of the shield. You know what? Yep, there. Right on the middle. See how that does? Okay, now, this is where we should see an increase. Look at that. See how that goes? Beautiful. Now, if it's too much, just take your brush and push the paint away. What I like about the tinny tin, when diluted, well, doesn't coffee stain. Doesn't do that staining. Okay, still too much. And then if I can't get it, white makeup brush, or sorry, makeup sponge, shoot, just, doop, pull it half. There we go. Now, yeah, very cool. definitely the look what I was achieving or wanting to achieve. Very happy with how it looks on this color. It just brings out. And I'll dry it with a hair dryer so you guys can see what it looks like. Okay, here we go. On the face, lots of shadow there. See how it kind of tones that white part down? Okay. Goodness gracious. A lot of moving too fast. Back to gunmetal real quick. I see an area where I missed. Here. Easily fixed. Okay. So, can I do more work? Yeah. Should I do more work around the face and all that stuff? Yes. However, I am running out of time. So I am going to dry these figures and go into the final stages of the washing that I was telling you about and the shading, and show you how you can achieve quick shades straight in the areas of where you're wanting to put that on the figure, and how it will change the look of the figure. Put the mic on mute. Okay. So here's what he's looking like. I should have done different with the hair, made it darker, and I'll fix it. But okay, now we're going to start doing the final parts. This is the part that I like the most. I use either GW shades or Army Painter shades. For this example, I'm going to use Army Painter Strong Tone. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to apply a very thin layer of paint over the figure, just a huge wash. And basically what that does is, I use the example of when we were kids, or even now, in some cases when you go to the grocery store and you see bananas and they have like this red cellophane, and you look through the cellophane and everything looks red. Well, what this does is it creates a glaze, or a layer all across the figure, and it's like it tones everything down and allows you to put in other shades and create more tone, more depth. Okay, because this is white, I've really diluted it, because I don't want to completely mess up my white that I've tried to keep pristine this painting demo. Okay. There's one. There's two. Let's see, here we go. It just keeps falling into the cracks of the beautifully sculpted shield. Okay. You know what? I missed something. There we go. Okay, going all the way down. I'm just going like a madman with this brush. It doesn't matter. I'm trying to cover the entire area. Okay. Then to use the hairdryer real quick. Okay, the Agrax Earthshade, or the strong tone, is dry. So now I'm going to start adding more tone, more depth. And to do that, I will use Army Painter Blue Tone and Dark Tone, which is, they say, is compared to Nuln Oil. So I'm going to get some Blue Tone out here. Get some Nuln Oil out here. These Army Painter tones, pretty much a workhorse for me. And I would say that's the only paint that I like from Army Painter. Okay. Okay. So we've got blue here. So what I want to do is put blue in the dark areas, the real dark areas. Create our shades a little bit more interesting. Inside of the bicep here, again, that's probably going to be covered by a shield. Underneath the arm, pretty much this whole area here by the shins. Okay. Now, we want to create shadow here. We want to create shadow here and here. In fact, I can see going back with less dilution of blue in this area. So the darker this is, the lighter the breastplate will be, the chest will be. Putting the blue where the shadow would lie the most. I like using blue for shadowing. Okay, so there's a lot of shadow here on the side of this face. I can definitely see going back to that with the blue. Okay, on the boots. Okay, now let's go to the Nuln Oil. I diluted that too much. It's okay. I'd rather dilute too much than have it really not diluted, because that can create not a good effect for me. And again, if you see paint that's pooling, take your makeup brush or makeup sponge. Bam. Okay, let's go over here. Again, I'm wanting to really create shadow this area here, right under here. The side of his face completely. And the innermost part of the shield. Side of the leg, feet. It's too much. Take your wipe away. Highly, highly, highly recommend having makeup sponges. You can buy them at, well, here you can buy them at Target. You can buy them at Walmart. I'm sure you can buy them at Tesco. Okay. One more. And then I'm going to go back with the blue, darker blue a little bit, and then we're done. I'm going to dry it, and then I got to go because I have a very understanding wife. But I don't want that understanding to stop. Okay, awesome. Okay, now I'm going to go back real quick with some blue. Where did I throw it out on my desk here? Oh, here it is. So I'm not going to dilute this as much. I want it to stain in these areas. Okay. Oops. Here we go. Yep, creating shadow. Creating shadow so the lighter parts can come up. If I was painting this for like you know, for the store to sell figures for box art or whatever, I would come in with a thinner brush and do some outlining or pin washing or whatever words that's cool to use these days, to achieve even more of a shaded look. See how that blue just okay. Okay, done. Okay, now my analness is kicking and I gotta stop. Creating more shadow. Especially under the arm here. So I'm using that blue to bring out the detail of the rope or whatever the handle part is there. Okay. I'm done painting. I'm going to take the hair dryer and dry these off so you guys could see they look finally. Okay, figures are dry for the most part. So in 2 hours and now 30 minutes, we're able to paint 3 figures with multiple shades and highlights. See how the white is? A lot of that was done with the pre-shading. There's some things I'd change if I wasn't painting faster or as fast. I definitely would have highlighted the green a little bit more, and I still can. I can always go back and highlight the green more on areas where I want light to have the effect of light to come up. I definitely would paint the hair darker. I should have thought about that as I was just moving along. However, in 2 hours, in 30 minutes or whatever, to paint 3 figures, that look pretty good. Definitely tabletop quality. Definitely gets you closer to painting up that Athenian corset. And that's what this is about. This is about showing you guys techniques on how to get stuff painted really nice, that looks good on the table, that you can be proud of. So again, I hope this helps you. I'm really curious of your thoughts. If you'd like to see more, if this was a waste of your time, please tell me, because then I'll direct my energies elsewhere, by all means. I hope you liked it. This is gonna be posted on the YouTube channel as well, and we're gonna start promoting that. So it'd be great if you guys liked and subscribed it, and also tell everyone about us. Tell everyone about Footsore Vox, the Footsore YouTube channel, that sort of thing. So what I will do is I'll let these finally dry, and I will do a spray of a matte medium, and then take some pictures of what they look like afterwards, and then append that to the video. So thank you for spending the time to sit here for 2.5 hours and watch me paint and ramble. I do appreciate it. You have yourself a great weekend.